Welcome to Totally Talent Podcast by HR.com, your go-to source for all things talent. Whether you're looking for expert insights on high-volume hiring, the latest trends in recruitment technology, or strategies for building a winning team, we've got you covered. Join us for each episode as we dive deep into the challenges and opportunities shaping the talent landscape today. Let's get started.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Totally Talent here on HR.com. I am your host, Mike Wood, and I have a special guest today. I have an old friend from back in your ADP days. I remember hearing your name many times, and this is Susan Hanold. She's the VP of Organization, People, and Change at People Results. Hi, Susan. How are you?
Hi, Mike.
So I have seen your name a million places over the years. And so if you just want to give me like a quick background, what's your background in HR tech? Because you've been part of HR tech for a while.
Gosh, Mike, I think, talking about old friends, my goodness, the last time we talked, we were going down memory lane, like going to HR Tech Conference and all the conferences about technology and HCM. So for many years, that was the place I was at. It really was being an advisory services role, helping clients implement technology. And then I shifted back into a practitioner role. And then now in my role over at People Results, which is the VP of our organizational people and change role.
That's great. So I really wanted to talk to you about, because we had a normal conversation. I talk to lots of vendors all the time, and we were just talking about this new kind of world for graduates coming out of school, and like the whole entry level thing has just completely flipped on its head. And so we have this, like, some people are saying that there's a vanishing entry level debate, or like, are foundational roles being eliminated or they're being redesigned? So what's your take?
Goodness, this is such a big topic because I think like it's are we even having the right debate, Mike? Because is it really about AI today killing these entry level jobs? Or is the real question that we need to redesign the entry point so it can match up with the change that's happening? What do you think?
I think we need to redesign. And I think you need to assume that, okay, the kids coming out of school in 4 years will have been using this technology for that amount of time. Um, if I was a college grad right now, I would be getting all into the coding stuff, because that's just like, what else are you going to do? So I think I think we need to figure out. So right now, a lot of companies and a lot of in the news is we're just going to lay off a huge chunk of people.
Right.
But you'll have to try to figure out what that new entry level role looks like. What is it? Is it more of an apprenticeship type of thing? I don't know. Like, so, what do you see in some of the companies that you work with?
Well, I think there's kind of two paths happening. There's one, you can definitely let people go, right? And we're going to create a new role. Or am I just going to add AI into everything, into job descriptions? So I will just now add AI, and now that's going to be my new org redesign, and not even really define what that means. What is this new entry role going to be like? And I think you mentioned apprenticeship too. So I think during this is being able to have a learning path. So I look at some smaller mid-sized organizations that say, yeah, let's create a job architecture. Well, let's not even create a job architecture. We have some minimal roles. But now we have to kind of fit the people into those roles. And that always doesn't work. You just don't say, let's just take a person and put them in there. And then we don't really change anything. To your point about how do we onboard them? Do they have a learning path? What do we want those competencies to be? Okay, so if I look at the younger generation, you say, oh, here, I'll just take an example where I was talking to somebody and they said, Susan, I'm just going to go hire a young person because they know this AI stuff. What? Just because you're
Yeah,
younger automatically means you know all the AI stuff. And oh, by the way, I'm just going to make up a role for them. Like, yeah, because they're going to come teach me all this AI stuff.
No, well, with that logic too, you hire someone that knows the AI stuff but doesn't know the corporate secrets things. Like, don't upload corporate secrets to AI.
So I also have seen where I have seen it, like a chief technology officer, for example. It said, Susan, I want you to take all of my engineers and we're going to add AI in. Okay. Well, I need to really have some definitions. Now, here's two things too happening. This is what also could be happening to the role of OD and HR business partners, because this is why they have to listen in. If you are not close enough to your business, they will go without you. So in today's world with AI, they will be dangerous and they will be risky. And then they're going to go out to wherever they are on the interweb, or I'm just going to say somewhere, and they are going to go Google it or AI it, and they're going to come up with their new job architecture and competencies and JDs and job descriptions, and they're going to make it for themselves. And they're not going to have any guardrails. And you need to show the value, and that's where we need, and I would say as a human resources leader, be that trusted advisor, and you got to stay in there, or they're just going to go and they'll go rogue. And this chief technology officer would have been, hey, I'll just create the job architecture myself. But luckily enough, I was there, and I said, let me just go with you on this as a partner, and let's move it together. Who knows what
Yeah,
have
because I mean,
happened?
he only cares about his specific chunk of the
Right,
organization,
right.
and so if you have everybody being siloed like that, you're never going to be able to work together. So I get
Well, and
that.
here's another
Now,
example. I was sitting in a meeting, and I kid you not, this is still in the real world. Somebody was taking notes in the meeting. They literally had somebody who was going to sit in the whole meeting and take notes. And graciously, somebody just chimed in and said, well, it's automatic. We just press this button right here at the top, and it automatically record the meeting, and it'll have the notes, and it'll even talk to you while you're having and prompt you. And I think there's also got to be an openness to change in all of this. We know change is constant, so this is nothing like any other new change, but we really have to be open and adaptable to this change.
yeah, and I think it's okay for things to change. I mean, like,
Yeah.
and it will probably, so it's going to be a disruption at first, but I think that everyone's going to adapt. I mean, like my first job out of school was at a PR agency and I was the assistant account executive. So, that meant I did all the clerical stuff and I was that person in the meetings taking notes and stuff. If I didn't have to do all that clerical stuff, I probably could have been ramped up to actual activities a lot faster.
Right.
'Cause
Exactly.
I didn't
And
go to school for collating. I didn't go to school for taking notes.
first off, I didn't even touch the point you made earlier about coding, because now, like, I feel like I can code. Now I just ask it to, hey, please code for me, right? So I think that piece is exciting, because now I can do things I never did before that I didn't think were even possible, or I would have had to take a lot of on the job learning or classes or whatever to learn that. The piece that I'm seeing now, like if you take a project coordinator or an administrative role, I think that's where you were trying to get to. What's happening to these roles?
Mhm.
What are the changes that are happening? Are people really eliminating them, or is it truly that they need to adjust what the job description is? So really, what is the role doing, and what's the sort of the technology enablement skills that they need, and at what level? So you have to decide as a company on that cultural shift, how fast are you wanting to make that shift? Do we want to invest in growing and developing those project coordinators that are actually in those roles today and build the plan? Or are we saying, hey, you know what, we're actually going to be okay with losing to talent and then having to revise the job description based on what we really needed to do, right?
Mhm. I think so. I may have mentioned to you that my wife's a recruiter and stuff, and so I
Ugh.
talked to her about this stuff. She is a recruiter for a large healthcare organization in Mass, and so, like, I tell her that recruiting's going to change. Like some of these, like the recruiting coordinator role is going to change, or it may not even exist anymore. But that top of funnel type of getting people in the system, getting them verified, getting them with that screening phone call. I'm like, you don't have to do that. If you can have a system do that, now you're the strategic talent partner for everybody, and you don't have to worry about all the admin stuff. You are like you're able to expand your breath over like, okay, now I'm instead of playing catch up all the time, I'm looking at my department that needs to hire and I'm planning stuff in advance. So you get more of that time back. And I think organizations will try to cut a big layer of talent out of their workforce to save money, but you're going to need people at some point. You need people at the
Oh,
end
right.
of the
I think
process.
of now it's going to be the humans need to stay in the loop somewhere. And where do you need the humans in the loop, right? Where's the best place to have them involved? And I think in our invite here to the podcast, we taglined or about IBM and what they're doing. And it really
Hmm.
wasn't about um, no entry level jobs. It's really just about different entry level jobs. So your wife being this recruiter and be able to say, gosh, if I could kind of automate some of these tasks, what are some other things I could be doing in the meantime that might actually be, I hate to always use the word for strategic, but you could be doing some different things. Now, I did have a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and I have been trying to use some new tools myself. You got to block the time. I got to find the time. I got to have the patience to learn. I have I said that patience to learn. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, though, it's saying, okay, I actually was trying to learn the technology, and felt like I was spending more time trying to force feed a certain tool. So I'm like, okay, Susan, you can create this PowerPoint in AI. If I just do this, give it to content, it'll output a PowerPoint so beautifully, and I tell it
Hmm.
to use these templates. But I feel like I had spent an hour in the upfront area trying to learn that piece to get it. So some people have been saying, well, are we using so much time up front that we aren't seeing the ROI quite yet, right? Are we seeing the time investment to equal the process improvement at the end yet? That's the question.
I would tell people, looking to get into AI and all that stuff right now is to just get in there and give it a problem. Say, look, this is my current situation. How would you solve this? And see what it says. And don't take it as gospel. Take it for an idea. And it's a brainstorming partner. And so it's phenomenal that way that I could be like, okay, I have, you know, these tasks. And I think that entry level jobs, like, so IBM is tripling their entry level hiring.
Right.
It's not entry level jobs are not going to be the admin that you thought they were
Correct.
in the future. So you're still going to have entry points within the organization, but you could have an entry point with somebody that could be bringing their own agents. That's something that's been talked about. I think that's a security nightmare, but I think you just you're getting people in the organization. I would think faster, and some of this like business nuance stuff. That's where you're really going to need to train people.
Well, and I'm going to go back to the point you said earlier about, so what are these paths? So there's the automated task execution.
Hmm.
So I'm really just going to use automated task and execute. Then there's the human judgment plus coordination. So things like translating things, quality control, adoption support, some of these, they do need the human part looped in there. So to me, it's really just about unbundling some of it. You have to just say, okay, we know scheduling, first pass, the drafts, cleaning data. Some of that can be automated, but there also needs to be the QC, right? And I think a lot of it is fueling some fear. So I just did the CHRO roundtable not too long ago, and I was, I don't know why I was surprised, but it's a common thing that I'm seeing: fear and trust. And so there's this fear and trust and lack of trust or whatever, trust issues about the unknown. Anytime there's a change, people just kind of go, oh gosh, what is this going to do for me? What's going to happen to me? And I have been doing more and more, I don't want to call them FAQs, but more just discussions, listening sessions about why are you feeling fearful? Why are you nervous? And really kind to really put a sense of calm around this. So it's not this frenzy, right?
Yeah, I think people understand, and I mean, with GPT being out, I guess it's been out almost 3 years now, from when this all started. Like, yes, this is the future. I think people
Right.
understand that, but it's still kind of scary. Learning a whole new set of skills.
So
Um,
I'm Yeah, learning this well, that's a big question, and what are they, right? And so I'm
yeah,
still learning and trying to figure it all out. There's oh gosh, what was I gonna tell you about with the CHR roundtable we did? When we heard one of the things I learned was change, and I love to ask people a question on change. Where are you on the change readiness curve? Or just where are you on your ability to be ready for change? And this would be like, to me, another piece of technology that's coming out and what's happening to these entry level roles. So you could ask on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think your team is on change? And then you could say, well, where do you think your leadership team is? And then how fast do you want to get there? So if you say, hey, I'm the 10, I'm the benchmark, right? Like I want to be the front end of things. I want to be the leader, then that would mean you probably want to get there pretty quick. I'm willing to put the investment and the time in there to get there. And then if you say, well, hey, I'm a 5, we're kind of in the middle of the road. We're going to let some other people lead the way. I think it's really important for you to know where your company is on this change curve too, about how fast or the acceleration is. So we started launching this change readiness assessment. And we've been giving that out to teams to say, how ready are you for this change? Because I think there's two pieces of it. There's the company side and there's the people
mhm.
side. And is your company ready? Do they have the guardrails, the support infrastructure, policies? And then you've got the people side, the trust, the fear, the culture, the training that's got to go. And it's such an icebreaker for companies to find out. I had no idea, like even for some of these very large organizations at enterprise, I think everyone, like you said, you start off at the very beginning, like kind of like in their own business unit. Everybody's doing their
Yep.
own business unit thing, but collectively, everybody's kind of at a different space or a different level. And really trying able to figure out, I have a baseline and now I can build me a roadmap. I think that sometimes is so understated. I just need to see where I am today so I can build a plan.
Yep. And show them what that, so what does that finish line look like? What does the new organization look like?
Well,
And that's something that nobody knows really, that I've seen is,
right.
I mean, IBM is coming out and saying that they're tripling their entry level hiring, but I don't know what the rest of the org chart's going to look like. And
Well, and it's
s-
interesting. I'm helping a company right now look at all their different their roles. They're doing like a comp study, but in order to do the comp study, you have to know what your current state job descriptions are, and then where do you the future of them need to go. Well, you could be like some companies and just outsource it, right? We're going to have a third party vendor come in
yep.
and evaluate. Not really that good because you probably want to get some input from your key stakeholders. So they went and now we're inputting with the key stakeholders, and we're finding at first this third party went in and said, everybody give me your stuff and just submit it all individually. Once again, in a silo. And if you
Hmm.
look holistically, you could say, hey, maybe we could even save some efficiencies by having some of these core roles. Maybe some of those entry level roles could be shared services or could be shared or in a center of excellence. And that's exactly, I think, if you have everybody playing nice in the sandbox, you can do some of that where you say, I don't need a full time FTE, but maybe I need a half and we can move around on a project. And I feel like that's where some give and take has to come.
Yeah. I mean, like I would think, so what's more valuable now in today's world? Like as I've been seeing, like customer service, having an actual person is
Right.
now like if I'm a client that you care about, I expect to be able to reach an actual person. So maybe some of these entry level jobs roll into being that first line
Mhm.
of getting a problem solved. I don't know. I just like, the minute I get sent to automated customer service, I know they
Oh,
don't care about me.
I'm really right now, I'm having an issue with my oven. It won't sync up to the internet. These complicated ovens now. I'm like,
Wait,
well,
why
I
do
can
you?
go
Okay,
along.
wait. Let's back up a little bit. Your oven is connected to the internet. I'm not
Yes.
at that
You
level in
know
my
why?
life yet.
Okay,
Why?
these are big world problems. And do you know why? Because now in order to set the clock, I have to have it on Wi-Fi. And I'm like, what? So I'm like, well, fine. I just won't have a clock on my oven. But everything now is synced to it. They almost don't even let you run the oven now unless it's set to the. And I'm like, okay, your warranty, everything. So today I have to call, and the whole entire setting up the scheduling was, of course, not with a human. And so I set it
Yep.
up from, of course, 2 weeks from today because that's as soon as one. But I thought, here we go, Mike. You and I know there's always a workaround. I need to get to a person.
Yes.
I freaking
So
just hit
jump on the internet and complain as
and
loud
I
as
just to a
possible.
person. So I'm gonna call the service technician that came out a year ago, and I'm like, "Hey, Josh, please help me. Please help me, Josh. What am I doing? I've troubleshooted this twice." And the good news, Mike, is he said, "Susan, here, call the 1-800." Basically, it was the Wi-Fi call center. Who knew? I would have never found out there was a Wi-Fi call center if I went to this automated. So here I was. I fixed my answer because I knew a person and I got to a person.
Now, in theory, they should have a chatbot on the website that can give you the same information. In
Mike, do you
theory.
think I'm doing that? Are you doing that? Do you do that?
No, I think that there's going to be a lot of stories like this. Like, are we building an oven that needs to be connected to a Wi-Fi?
Right.
Like I was thinking, like Claude went down the other day, and I use Claude for so much right now. I was like, okay,
Yep.
that 2 hours that it went down was like, okay, if I was an enterprise organization, now Claude's down, it's like having AWS go down. So like, there's this
Right.
kind of push and pull, not putting all your eggs in one basket. And I mean, it's your oven's connected. So God forbid you lose power. You can't. Well, you couldn't cook anything anyway with but you
I
lose
literally said that.
internet.
I told my husband, "What's the worst thing that can happen here?" I mean, really? I mean, we don't have a clock. I don't need notifications. I don't need to know when I'm using it.
I
Right.
honestly think there's going to be a backlash where people start wanting, like, actual knobs on their, oven or something because, like, I was looking for a new, fridge a couple years ago when I bought this house, and, there were the ones that, like, will show you what's in the fridge, and, like, it's all like an LED screen. I'm like, "That thing's gonna break, and it's gonna cost me, like, 3 times this thing. Give me the old standard." That's all I want.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're still making me think about just even a technician able to fix this, and the skills that are needed. And back to your point, if you lose one of those technicians, what's your bench? And I hear it over and over again that how do you have that future talent coming in? And I feel like it's just so complicated. I think there's two paths. There's a technology path and then people who actually want to, who are doing the labor, who are having to do tasks that have to be done in person, nurses, doctors, and things that
Mhm.
can get away with some of this, even though technology will be embedded in everything and there's always automation. But it's how do you get people onboarded in these entry level jobs to even have the benches? So, like, I was thinking you're talking about these entry level, like college grads,
Mhm.
how do they get at bat? Because the pressure to get hired at these roles, and I take my nephew, who's an aerospace engineer, who's got this significant background, but then how do they get the experience? So where is he going to start out? At what level is he going to start out? Does he have rotations? Is he able to get internships? Does he do these apprenticeships? Um, does he have, back in the days, they used to do these co-ops where you could rotate around and
Yep.
learn different roles. What's
I
happening to
wish
these
that
kids?
existed, by the way. I wish co-op still existed because that
Me
seems like a
too.
great way to find out what you're
I
really good at.
I do too, man. That was a I wish I would have gone on that.
But, yeah, for your nephew, it's I would almost advise all these kids coming out of school right now, create your own website, create your own living whatever with AI, so at least you've been using it and you understand what because what you're gonna learn entry level isn't gonna be the tech stuff anymore, it's gonna be the business process stuff. It's going to be like, "This is how our organization runs, and this is how we normally treat customers," and, like, the soft skills.
Well, I even think about I took a last summer, I took a job as a professor thinking I'm going to teach the executive MBA program, and I wanted to know what technology could I use and to keep the students from either plagiarizing, right? Or and it got to the point where in order for me to give them a test, I had to physically do an old school handwriting form. And then, so everything had to go away. So they had to come in person. Okay. Remember, sometimes it's hybrid or
Yep.
certain, they have to come in person. I had to find a paper form. And then I had to say, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to read 50 of these handwritten in an evening and figure out how to score them like an old fashioned way, right? And then
Yep.
like score them and read them. And like that takes a lot. And the other piece is I was having them put in papers. So they would submit their case studies and I would have to run it through the plagiarism, and then say, okay, what percent of it was real? And then go back and say, well, so, you had 20% was plagiarized or from some other source. And
Yeah.
please, can you clarify? And you're writing me in bullet points now. Bullet points really aren't complete sentences. And,
Yeah.
it takes a lot of time and to understand all these different tools. And there's always the students who are they're always trying to figure out the fastest way, the
Oh, yeah, you don't
workaround.
have time. I was
No.
an English major, and I remember the amount of books that they gave me to read. I found Spark Notes so fast
Oh, that
that,
was,
like, I could just read the
those are the
cliff notes,
best. Oh, I love those.
because I'm just like, "I don't have the time for this." Um,
Well,
so
but now they're sitting in class and they're sitting with their phones and they're recording me. They're like, hey, Professor Hanold, can I record you? I'm going to record you and then I'm going to take the notes and then I'm going to highlight them and it's all going to go through the system. They're going to completely be automated and nothing's going to be written down anymore. And they will actually come up close to the front of the room so they can get a good recording. And I'm like, can I record you? Like, it's such a weird moment. It's so weird.
Yeah, no, my doctor does that actually too. They're like, just like, "Oh, is it okay if I record you on my phone?" And I'm like, always yes, but I'm
Oh,
like, is she doing this as part of the job, or is this
What
like I'm just going to record you on my
what are we
phone?
gonna look at later, Mike? What do you
Yeah.
do? Wait, what
So,
kind of is this a video or is this
yeah. So
where is this going?
but it's like I would test these kids coming out. You still can't automate how someone thinks, like critical thinking. You can't automate that. You have to like, can someone make relevant decisions and that type of stuff based on the information that they are given and seeing how they think. And that's probably how tests are going to move in the future is just like, okay,
Oh,
here's a piece of paper. Tell me what you would do instead of like asking Claude or anything.
right. Exactly. Well, and I just feel like businesses have really such an opportunity to really improve their design and really take a time to think thoughtfully. Because if you really do want to set these people up for success, take the time and basically listen to your employees. I mean, I highly recommend an employee engagement survey. Get the feedback from your employees. So they're going to tell you either we don't have career paths, our job descriptions. Your wife will probably know with, what's happening with
Mhm.
job descriptions today, which ones are faux or friends or real or, and is this person's resume real? But in today's world, I really would recommend, and I hate to use this word, strategic workforce planning, really think through the workforce. What type of work are you wanting to do? And then just go backwards. Just say, hey, here's what I need to get done. Here's the output. Then what are the skills I need? And so many times I will find people will say, well, I've got these 5 people and I'm going to try to move these 5 people around because you're thoughtful and you care and you're a good human and you care for people. But at the end of the day, do you have what skills do you need? And then you can go and say, hey, then I know what I'm hiring for, right? I'm very clear about the
Yep.
skills I need. I don't know if we're very clear. And I was telling you, people putting AI in, I don't even know. They're just putting AI in on every job description.
No, they're trying to retrofit everything.
So I don't even, can you even define AI? Do you know what the skills are for AI? I don't know.
No, I'm using AI heavily, and I still can't tell you exactly how it works. It just does some things because it's
It's
enabled me
magic,
to do things technically that I didn't know how to do.
right? And if it can do
Uh,
some things faster, well, now I'm actually a great writer. My husband's always like, wow, this is amazing. So I had to do something because I had to write our HOA to get some approval to do
fun.
some landscaping. And it has to have 15 bushes and 2 rows, and it's got to be beautiful.
Yeah.
Very
So it's
beautiful.
good for stuff you don't care about like that. Like you don't want
Right.
to spend the time talking to the HOA.
Oh, and my husband's like, wow, this is great. It's a little long. And I'm like, oh, it is? Give me 2 seconds. Boom, boom. Oh, there it is. And you know what's beautiful? So that kind of stuff that I probably, who's not a great writer, made me look like a genius. Like I was so eloquent and I was so thoughtful and I was very kind. But that's the kind of stuff that is helpful. But yeah, it's
Well,
changing.
I'm so happy that you were able to join me and we can catch up and talk about this in your oven that's attached to Wi-Fi. Thank God
Oh,
I did not get one of those ovens. Uh, I
yeah.
mean, in theory, you could change the temperature of your oven from wherever you are in the house, but
Yes. And yes, and let
have
me
you
tell
ever
you, so
actually
does my
used the
washer and
app?
dryer. So does my washer and dryer. And so now my husband, who travels a lot, would love to tell me, "Hey, Susan, you need to get the laundry out. Oh, you need to put the wash in the dryer." I'm like, "Oh,
You're like, this is worse.
no. I do not need anybody to be micromanaging me from afar, about my
Yeah, yeah.
laundry, about my laundry."
Well, you could take all that data from your appliances and be like, what's the best time for me to do laundry? What's
Well, so now we get these reports on our air conditioner that says, "Hey, during these days, you've saved this much, or this is more efficient based on this running." Like, gosh, you're exactly, you could do the whole house. But now I get these reports that say how much more efficient I've been because of this. I don't know. Are we looking at those
okay?
reports? Like,
There's so much data out there. Well, Susan, thanks for joining me. If anyone wants to check out Susan and her company, it's People Results. And I hope to see you in person at some point, maybe at HR Tech
oh,
if you're going to be there.
me too.
I'll be there.
I hope to see you too. Thank you so much, Mike.
Great. And have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thanks for tuning in to the Totally Talent podcast by HR.com. We hope you find today's episode insightful and inspiring. Don't forget to explore more episodes and discover valuable resources at HR.com/podcasts, where you can listen to all of our podcasts. Until next time, keep leading with purpose and making a difference in the world of talent.